अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. Welcome to another episode of Hafta, and I think this is the last Hafta before Diwali. Or
Yeah.
the second, it is.
No, I think Thursday we have
Thursday.
Thursday or
We
Friday
have the
we have
24th. I've started off the Hafta on confusion note. No, it is the last Hafta before Diwali because the next Hafta will be recorded on Diwali, which means we'll have to record it either after Diwali or before Diwali. We'll figure that out later. But for now, which means Delhi air is amongst the worst in the country. Possibly among the worst in the world, I'm guessing.
All of North India, much of North India.
Much of North India, but Delhi especially actually, because Delhi is kind of a valley. So we shall.
We're at 400 now, and by the next 1 week, typically the pattern is stubble burning starts, we hit 400, and then Diwali comes, we hit 800.
But this time,
No, when Diwali comes, it crosses 1000, except that the meter doesn't have 4 digits.
but this time they are saying that there is less stubble burning, so we need to think why it is happening.
आप कितने मासूम हो?
नहीं, क्या जल तो रहा है पूरा.
नहीं, नहीं.
See in the map.
But we shall discuss that in some
today
because there are
is-
some headlines related to this also. But yeah, which means that things are not good and lots of bad throats and colds and fever will pop in.
Yeah.
But before we get to the headlines, let me introduce the panel because we have a lot of international relations and affairs to be discussed today. In the studio is Raman Kirpal,
Hello.
Manisha Pande,
Hello.
who is just back yesterday from Maharashtra. Thank you for those of you who contributed to the Sena. If you haven't yet, the QR code is flashing on your screen right now. Please do contribute because there are 2 elections that are happening, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. So total of just about 12 lakhs is our budget for the election coverage. I'm hoping you will make this happen because we have at least 7 people traveling. Manisha, Atul, producers, Basant.
No, Basant is not traveling.
Sorry.
News Minute is...
Prateek and Tanishka.
Pradeek and Tanishka. And News Minute is also
From
contributing.
News Minute, Sudipto is going to Jharkhand.
So Sudipto is traveling.
And Pooja is going to Maharashtra. And Shivani, another reporter of theirs, is going to be covering Maharashtra.
And all this is going to be paid for not by ads, whether it is government ads or corporate ads, but by you. So do flash your camera in front of this QR code or click on the link in the show notes below and do contribute because when the public pays, the public is served, and advertisers pay, advertisers served. And joining us online on Zoom are our guests from Chennai. Welcome, Stanley. Thank you for joining us again.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And Stanly Johny has been on Hafta before. He is the International Affairs Editor with The Hindu. And joining us also from Chennai is our still untitled head of podcasts, promos,
Didn't
another
we
creative
give
pursuit.
a thing?
Untitled?
No, officially we haven't come to any conclusion yet because many suggestions have been come. She'll communicate through email with her Aadhaar card attached that this is my title. But Jayashree is here. Someday soon when we decide.
Hello.
Right. So with one more reminder of when the public pays, the public is served, please contribute. We will also be having Colonel Ajai Shukla joining us later in the show because, China and India have apparently come to some
We
sort
have
of
become
understanding.
bye-bye.
We don't know if Stanley
Yet
and
again.
Colonel Shukla will tell us about that. So Stanley, first, let's just figure out what kind of a foreign relation coup is happening. I happened to watch the BBC coverage of the BRICS Summit, where there are, other than the BRICS nations, there are, I think, about 7 or 8 other nations that have been invited who are non-BRICS members. The Western media, specifically the BBC, which is not probably as, I'd say, motivated, or it tries to remain slightly sensible as opposed to the American media, is putting this as a opportunity for Putin to flex his muscle, to show that you cannot isolate me. So, just put this in perspective. How much of it is BRICS? How much of it is Putin's vanity? How much of it is the alignment of right now our interest, where we are head-to-head against America because of the case against our intelligence agency we're conducting? G and America obviously at daggers drawn. Putin and America obviously daggers drawn. Negotiate this for us.
So all these countries are coming together in the name of building, an institution such as BRICS at a time when the global order in kind of a flex. So I think it is about BRICS as an institution, and we can have our own, we can argue that this shows the fact that all these world leaders came together in an event hosted by Russian President Vladimir Putin, that shows that the Western's nations' attempts to isolate Russia or punish Russia over its invasion of Ukraine has not been successful. That is an argument. Definitely, Putin would like to send that message out to the world that irrespective of what you hear in the Western media, still Russia is not a pariah state, not an isolated state as you would like to see. So I think that could be an argument. But
there are, I think, about 6 other significant countries whose is that unusual for this BRICS summit, or is every BRICS summit has about half a dozen or a dozen non-BRICS countries attending and clapping for us?
No, this was not the case earlier, because this time the BRICS summit is happening after they announced the expansion in the last summit. So that's why you had the UAE,
Right.
president was there. You have the Egyptian leader, Erdogan himself. Erdogan is a NATO member. Erdogan wants to join NATO, wants to join BRICS. And the UAE is an American ally, of course. And Egypt is a country that is basically sustained on aid from the United States. I think all these countries also want to send a clear message to the Americans as well that, yes, we are your allies. I am a NATO member, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to put all my baskets in one basket. So all my eggs in one basket. So BRICS, they all see BRICS as...
Could I ask a question? Which is that, I mean, apart from it seeming like a show of strength, right? But are there any shared priorities that, such a sort of diverse group of countries could come up with? Also, one of the big things from the BRICS summit was Putin was waving around that mock-up of the currency note. And in theory, the idea of a joint currency could, challenge the domination of the dollar and so on. But realistically, would that ever happen? Is this just one of those things that we talk about but never really goes forward?
So, at this point of time, I don't see any immediate structural challenge to the status of the US dollar as the global reserve currency. That's not going to happen, So like that, the world is, as I discussed earlier, the world is, I think, has moved towards a multipolar world. It's no longer unipolar in a sense.
One of the statements that made news was of Narendra Modi at BRICS, where he said that BRICS should not be seen as an alternative to global organizations, indicating that it shouldn't be seen as an anti-West grouping. So this India's balancing act is just
Quite good.
But how hard is it going to... Because Putin, actually, I should say Putin, people get very upset when I keep saying Putin. And he would not appreciate this sort of... I mean, they are very unapologetic about being anti-West. So then India, it'll be a bit like, whatever. I mean, how seriously will we be taken in this grouping with our known kind of balancing act and our soft, I mean, it's not soft, it's out there for everyone to see, our alliance with the US.
But also, is India already in the balancing act because it's member of BRICS and Quad? Like, doesn't that also therefore make it in that perfect
So then how serious are we, how serious a players are we in these groupings precisely because we're like nowhere?
It is going to be Diwali next week.
Yeah,
And
Thursday, right?
Yeah. Well, Friday, Thursday, one of the two. And we celebrate Diwali for a number of reasons. And this year, Newslaundry News Minute is adding one more to the list. The spirit of independent media, because that lights up democracy. Because, there's a reason you call things like RTIs, sunshine laws. Because sunshine makes sure that there is no darkness and democracy dies in darkness, as the proverb goes. So our merchandise is available as gifts. We have a Diwali hamper. So you can gift these items to friends and family to help spread the word about the important mission of sunshine and making sure darkness does not devour democracy. The link is in the show notes below. Go on to our website and order the Diwali hamper. So Manisha, let's come to the election of Maharashtra. Why is vada pav such an overrated dish? It is a nothing dish. It is nothing.
Can I say I agree with you entirely?
Yeah.
I was so excited to eat vada pav the first time I had it.
I was like, what is this even? It is...
What sorrow.
Neither is it tasty, neither is it healthy, neither is it really homemade. It is like the bread is bread.
It is certainly not healthy.
It's not even tasty.
But no, it is. If you eat in Maharashtra, yes.
I've eaten in Maharashtra.
Because they have a, they
So
have
don't
a,
pander to our Maharashtrian
they have a-
subscribers. I appreciate it. You're pandering to them. And we appreciate your journey. But healthy discussion about food habits is...
Yeah, I don't get the big deal about Mumbai street food either.
It is-
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I think Delhi street food is way better.
Yeah, you can't compare this is like comparing bloody Champions League to ISL.
So my main purpose was to interview Aditya Thackeray. We wanted to catch him before the election gets very hectic, because then typically you just get bites. We sat down with him for 1.5 hours.
Nice.
From 11 o'clock to 12:30 in the night and chatted with him, had a long conversation. So that interview is going to be out very soon. It's going to be behind the paywall for our subscribers only, but you'll get a little sense of what we talked about. And when I was there was this intense commotion happening between Sena and Congress over seat sharing. So
Okay.
it was a very exciting time to be there, with Congress getting ghiraud by Sena for wanting to contest elections, more seats than Sena.
Now, I have a
They
question.
finally came down to an agreement, but it was pretty bitter. It was out there for everyone
Was
to
it?
see.
No, I want a question, because it'll be speculative, but I'm guessing because you've just been there, you've met a lot of politicians, spoken to even more. There was this narrative a few days ago, just 2-3 days ago, that there is some friction in the seat sharing between Pawar and Thackeray and the Congress, and Pawar and Thackeray are talking to the BJP behind the scenes, which was a kind of narrative that was being nudged and hinted on by journalists and channels close to the BJP. To you, I know it's a speculative question, but to you, does the alliance seem fairly solid, or as is being suggested, after election, anyone could go with anyone?
I don't think at this particular moment there's this sort
Any
of
talking
friction that they are suggesting, that there are backdoor talks and all. I think this was very much about a very...
Now we have our next guest joining us, Colonel Ajai Shukla. Welcome, Ajay.
Hi, Abhinandan. How are you?
Very well. How are you and where are you?
I am in Delhi.
Oh, you're in
and
Delhi.
Therefore, I'm wheezing and coughing.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. So, Ajay, we were just discussing with the foreign policy editor of Hindu, Stanly Johny, about BRICS and the outcomes and the relevance of BRICS, etc., etc. But one specific outcome, if we can call it the outcome of BRICS, we'd like your view on, because you have had an extremely informed and rational and reasonable and credible view on the China-India friction and turbulence at the borders, etc. What is this recent announcement where India and China have come to an agreement on patrolling? What does that mean? How is it different from what was happening earlier? And does that mean we've got anything back?
So China had occupied those positions, taken them up in the numbers of that numbered in hundreds, and India was then left with the job of dealing with the situation, preventing further ingress, and if possible, trying to sort of push the Chinese out of Indian territory. And the negotiations that have taken place between China and India from then till now have all been directed at pushing China back, inducing it to sort of vacate Indian territory, and generally, as they say in the parlance of negotiations, restore the status quo ante of May 2020.
Right. But is that what has happened?
That is basically what has happened.
So they have gone back. So that's a win for us, right?
No, it's not really a win for us because, and this is again deductions that have taken place from China experts since then. China agreed in 3 places to restore what was a semblance of the status quo ante. These places are Galwan, Hot Springs, and the Pangong Lake. But the other 2 places, which is Depsang, the northernmost tip, and Demchok, the southernmost area of Ladakh.
बस मुफ्त में इतना ही मिलेगा. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the Newslaundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that Newslaundry is trying to encourage. where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads, so that news serves the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to Newslaundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.